Hey guys, welcome back to Cheat Day Sports. It's been a little while. The holidays kind of getting involved. Wasn't able to make some videos. Kind of feeling a little under the weather. Um, Got a little cough and kind of some mucus, but we're back on track. We had a good slate of games this last weekend. Shout out to Washington and Oregon, for making the Pac-12 championship. Same with Bama and Georgia. We're going to be talking about all these games right about now. But the first thing I want to talk about is two coaching hires that I think are really, really solid. The first one I'm going to look at is Mike Elko from Duke taking the Texas A&M job. He was one of my two choices to take that job. And I said him because he was originally the defensive coordinator there back, I think it was 17 and 18. And then he took the Duke job. And he's had Duke as being a solid team, especially this year. If some things go different, if the Riley Leonard doesn't get hurt and go down at their season, they could have ran the ACC and made the championship game. Does injuries, plagued them this year. Mike Elko still a good coach. I think he's going to do really well in Texas A&M. I don't think Jimbo Fisher was that good of a coach. I think he was a big name, so he brought in the recruits. He's bringing in all these great recruiting classes, but if you can't develop your talent and don't know how to, you're never going to win. Yeah, you can get blessed with some number one recruiting classes, and who knows, maybe you're lucky. Maybe you end up with a Jameis Winston, just like he did at Florida State. But yeah, it was just a little bit different for him in the SEC. I think Mike Elko fits a more hard-nosed, football like the SEC has to be. I don't think Jimbo Fisher was that. So I think he's going to do really well. I bet in his first year there he can get him into bowl contention. Just with the kids, he's going to have some turnover rate. There's going to be some kids that transfer out, but there's definitely going to be some kids that want to come play for him. So that's the first one. And the second one, which really blows my mind, well, not blows my mind, just I thought he would have went somewhere else, is Jonathon Smith. I thought Jonathon Smith from Oregon State would have, this is when there was rumors of Chip Kelly getting fired at UCLA, which he still might, especially how they lost to Cal, which they beat USC the week before, and then you go and lose to Cal that way. I think UCLA, I don't think they'll find a better coach than Chip Kelly. I think they're going to move on from him. And I thought Jonathon Smith would have taken that job, he was an Oregon State alum, but he's from Pasadena, so I thought that would have been an easier transition for him. But with him taking the Michigan State job, man, that is going to be tough, especially, it might be a little bit easier because he's not going to be in the East with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. It's just the two best teams can play for the conference championship. But man, Michigan State is a bad team. Given he's bringing a lot of his coaching staff with him, but I don't think as of right now, Texas A&M at least has the players. Michigan State doesn't. And especially you already have Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan in that conference. You have Nebraska. Matt Rule's going to have that team looking good. You have Wisconsin. Northwestern's looking a whole lot better. You always have Iowa, and Minnesota. Iowa's always going to be a good team. Minnesota's always going to be solid. And then you have Oregon and Washington coming in, plus USC and UCLA, given those two schools are going to kind of be in shambles after the year. But yeah, I see Jonathon Smith being there for 3-4 years. And man, I don't know if he can get that team to where it needs to be. Maybe if he was taking over if Jonathon Smith would have went to Texas A&M, for sure, I think that would have been, he would have done great there. But this Michigan State team's in shambles right now. So I don't think it's the best fit for him, but let me know what you guys think. But what I want to talk about now is actually the conference championship games for the upcoming week. I'm not going to pick the winners. I'll do that later in the week. I just want to kind of go over some of the games right now. We'll go over every conference championship. So right now we have the Conference USA Championship between New Mexico State and Liberty. This is interesting because I've watched New Mexico State play twice, and I didn't know. I was like, oh, they're kind of average. They looked pretty well. They've been able to move the ball against whoever they've played, kind of against like the other team's will. But Liberty's looking pretty good. I didn't expect them, especially who was it? Hugh Freeze that left them. After he coached there last year, I didn't think Liberty was going to be as good as they were last year, but they've proved me wrong. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be a really, really good game, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conference CUSA championship game. If we look at the Oregon-Washington game, I made this prediction. This was my prediction for the Pac-12 championship. And what a game for the final title game in Pac-12 history. This Oregon team, I think, besides Georgia, I think Oregon looks like the best team in the country. Washington's looked a little bit down, especially playing Washington State this last week. They did not look great. But given Washington State does have Cam Ward, I think Cam Ward is a really good quarterback, but Washington State's just been really down this year, and for Washington to struggle, I don't know if something's wrong with Michael Penix Jr. People are saying he was injured or he's still sick. I don't know what's going on with him, but you have a quick turnaround. This game's on Friday. They're probably going to fly down there Thursday, so you have 3 days to prepare. I don't know how this is going to go, but I think this is going to be a hell of a football game. I'm just here for it. The next game, we have Oklahoma State and Texas. We have Oklahoma State sneaking in to the Big 12 title game. And we have Texas with Quentin Ewers coming back being healthy. Man, earlier, before Oklahoma State lost to UCF, I thought if this is the championship game, I was like, okay, this is going to be a little bit tougher than people expected. Then Oklahoma State loses to UCF, and then they struggle with Houston a little bit. And Texas is just kind of, I mean, they've had their games. They struggled against Kansas State. Obviously, they lost to Oklahoma earlier in the year. Oh no, Texas, man, just looks good, especially with Quentin Ewers. I think he's a really good quarterback. Yeah, this one, I mean, it's like a flip of the coin with how Oklahoma State's going to play. Texas, Texas is going to be in this game regardless. I don't know if I can say that for Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State with Ollie Gordon, that running back, man, he is a beast. And if he gets going, I mean, anything can happen in this game. In the MAC championship, we have Miami and Toledo. Miami of Ohio and Toledo. And these two played earlier in the year. And Toledo won. Miami of Ohio just hasn't been that impressive. Toledo kind of has struggled towards the latter end of the season, but I mean, you're going to have that regardless with injuries and things like that. But this Toledo team is a good football team. If they didn't lose earlier in the year to Kansas State, I think it was, they could be the group of 5 team they could be like the Liberties and all that. But it's unfortunate they had one loss earlier in the year, but this Toledo team's really good. And then the next game we have with Boise State and UNLV for the Mountain West Championship. I haven't got to watch much Boise State. I watched UNLV a couple of their games. UNLV's a tough football team. I'm glad. I mean, they've been down for a long, long time. And for them to get back to the Mountain West Championship game is huge. I like me some running Rebels in this one, the UNLV Rebels. But Boise State, I mean, anything can happen in that one. Next game we have Georgia and Bama. I'm not going to say much about this. We can talk more about this game later. Georgia's looking like the 2-time defending champs, like everyone should have expected them to look like, I guess. I didn't think they were going to be 12-0 this year, but they've looked good. And Bama, I mean, the Milrow kid throws that last second touchdown, and they end up beating Auburn in that. I mean, another classic of a game. And yeah, Bama. I don't know if I'm set on Bama because again, you could have two different Bama teams. You could have the Bama team that played against Central Florida. I mean, Southern Florida, or you could get the Bama team that played against Ole Miss. You know, you never know who you're gonna get. We have the AAC championship game, SMU Tulane. This is going to be a hell of a game too. SMU's fast. They got athletes all over the field. They want to score. And then Tulane, I mean, we saw what they did last year to USC. I think this is going to be an interesting game. I'll talk more about this later down the line too. We have Appalachian State, Troy. Then we have Michigan, Iowa. I'll talk more about the Louisville, Florida State game later too. But this game, man, I expected Michigan to be here. I don't know what's going to go on with Harbaugh and if they're going to let him coach in this game or not. I don't think it really matters. As we've seen, the team's still good, regardless of if they're stealing signs or not. If they're stealing signs, it just makes them that much better. But they're already a great football team. And Iowa, man, if they just had some offense, you know, I've never seen a team win how they have this year. Again, I guess a team, I'm a University of Utah fan. Utah's defense is good, but at least they can score a couple touchdowns if they need to. This Iowa team could have a game going into the third quarter and have it be 2-0. Their defense has scored a safety, you know. This is an interesting game. I don't know if Iowa just doesn't have, Iowa's defense could be as good as God, you know. But their offense is just terrible. I don't know how they're going to win this game, but it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I am feeling a little bit under the weather. So I'm going to end this video. But hey, I hope you guys all have a great cheat day. Okay? Go grab a slice of pizza. Go grab a burger. Go grab a shake. Go grab whatever. Treat yourself. I know we just had a long holiday weekend, but it's never too late to treat yourself. Go out there, tell somebody you love them, and catch you guys later. Peace.